What can I do for you?
Hey, how are you? My name's Doug. I'm not here selling anything, don't worry.
Good, because I have no soliciting sign, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm not selling anything.
Okay.
It just has to do with the power project and the state mandate. People have been receiving mail inserts about it. It has to do with the meter that was replaced. Do you remember them coming out and switching up that meter?
I think we heard something about it on like News 5.
Yeah, and so you feel like most people just kind of glanced at it and really pay much attention to it.
Yeah.
All they did was switch it to digital, so now they can read it via satellites. So they're doing this because of the overall transition to renewable. And so I don't know if you've seen those big wind farms going up. Have you seen those like alongside the
Not really, but are you, is this solar?
So I'm not selling solar. I know there's a lot of people come around in the past trying to sell it. Because we've all been paying into this charge on our bill, what that shows here is that for the homes that qualify, solar is now being provided as a renewable utility.
Okay.
Reason being is because talking to your neighbor, most people, if they were gonna spend $40,000, they're gonna be on something else.
Yeah.
Right? And so the state recognized that too, and after years of this going on, they realized to hit the mandate of 100% renewable, they're not gonna get everyone to buy it or rent it or that kind of stuff.
No.
So what they've done is they've brought in Sunrun, who is essentially a solar utility company. They've been around for 15 years, and we don't get yes or no's.
So you partnered with Excel?
No. So we're the ones helping facilitate the transition for Colorado. Just Excel doesn't have their own solar panels,
Okay.
and so they want a certain amount to be from renewable, but the only way in the past was for people to buy it, and so that's why there's been all those purchase companies.
Mm-hmm.
And now what's going on is since Excel has this mandate, Sunrun, who's been around for 50, do you go to Costco?
Every now and then.
Yeah, and so you might have seen the blue, like it's like a tent. You know how they have those tents there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Sunrun's in there, and they've been around for 15 years, and they do this in 25 states. But
Okay.
it's really where the states have mandates to replace their electricity with renewable. And so just like with Excel, how you didn't buy their power plant,
Yeah.
you just kind of you just buy the electricity or whatever they charge you.
Yeah.
And they've recently changed the rates to time of use. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's
Yeah.
just whatever time of day you use the electricity,
Mm-hmm.
they're charging you either 2 to 3 times as much. So from 1 to 3, it's 2 times. From 3 to 7, it's 3 times.
I just don't use like my bills. I mean, it's just me and my husband, so we're here about like $80 a month. Like we don't have
Yeah.
two, so it just never made sense, right? Like we
Right.
did the solar before, but like we're not saving money.
Yeah. And most people, that's the situation with a lot of your neighbors, which is why everyone doesn't have solar.
Yeah.
And so now what they're doing is, since they're changing this to time of use, this started January 2nd, everyone's rates are going to be going up because when do we use the most electricity, right?
Yeah, around those times.
Yeah, and so what this does is they're allowing people, instead of having, because they're going to be buying the renewable energy from the solar fields at these rates. So you're going renewable anyways as a state. So now what they're doing is they're allowing homeowners to choose to go with Sunrun as a solar utility, where you don't own the panels, you're not responsible for them. If something happens, just like with Excel, Sunrun monitors that they come up
So how
with.
is Sunrun making money then?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Just like Excel does, right? Like they own the equipment, and essentially what happens is when you become a utility customer, you pay a utility bill that's cheaper than Excel's because our rates are locked in and protected. Because the sun, you can just kind of produce it and you don't turn it on, right? So you don't you don't have to ship it to your home. So I know it's standing here for a second, but to kind of sum it up for you and keep it brief, is that right now you just buy the electricity from Excel, right?
Okay.
You didn't pay for the poles, the wires, none of that. What you do buy though is essentially the poles and wires through your rates. Okay, so you're basically, for new infrastructure, for new things, and to ship it to your home, that all is around 40% of your bill.
Oh wow.
So it'd be like if you ordered a pizza for $20 and it says $17 to get it to your home.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't make much sense.
No.
You just make it at home. So what this does is it allows you don't use the roof space, right?
No.
So it allows you to use it, protect it, but you don't own the panels, you're not responsible for them. You just need to buy the electricity. So same thing if something breaks.
Well, what happens if I need a new roof?
Yeah, so essentially they have it's not uncommon, right?
Okay.
That's pretty normal. So what happens is the insurance company we'll work that into the quote majority of the times. Now you do want to talk to your insurance company about that because there are some mom and pop shops that don't. So it is something to consider. It's a good question. And then as far as what happens is we just come and take the panels, store them, and then you get a new roof, we put them back up, you're good to go, still protected with cheaper electricity.
Okay.
So nothing really changes, it's just that we'd have to come take them off, put them on, really not a big deal. And you know, I ask most people if they think there's gonna be more or less solar in the next 30 years. They're
Probably more.
and so companies are starting to like base their idea around this.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I've just heard some horror stories speaking to some of my friends that gone solar where like, they did have leaks in their roofs and nobody came out and fixed it and they're stuck with, it was hard to sell their home. They couldn't sell their home. Nobody wanted to take on this loan, so it's like that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and most people didn't want to buy it, and so that's why people are looking into this. They made
Yeah.
my job really hard because that is a misconception. So when we're looking at this program specifically, it's what you're currently doing. You're not making an investment, you're just enrolling in a utility program.
Okay.
And instead of the equipment being laid out across the land and you paying for that, our taxes are going towards the installation of this.
Okay.
And Sunrun also takes the tax credits. So how does Sunrun make their money? They receive it. And they just are able to provide it at a cheaper protected rate.
Okay.
And they take on the investment, understanding that they are waiting long term to make the
So I
return.
basically like kind of rented my roof out to you guys?
I wouldn't say renting it out, you're just allowing us to use it to then produce your energy. So we don't like have any like liability, there's no like liens.
Okay.
And so it's not like if you wanted to move, there's a full transfer service team where you're good to go. So that way you're not stuck with it. It's just a true utility. So just like if Verizon said, hey, our phones run off renewable energy and they're cheaper. Like, do you want to switch from Sprint to Verizon?
Okay.
Cool.
So like I said, I spend about like $80. What do homeowners usually spend then enrolling in the utility program?
So it just varies based upon how much electricity your home uses.
Okay.
They have a threshold of like $40, but I'm not here getting the yes or no today. Actually, I would talk to all the homeowners.
Okay.
So my job is just to set up a time with you to run the savings report. Do you still get a paper bill?
I think actually last month we just transitioned everything online.
Okay. And then do you have that app?
The Excel app or?
Yeah.
I think so.
Cool. You pull that up. So what we're gonna need here is just the kilowatt usage. The reason why is because Excel has rules too, right? It's not, there's a lot of regulations with this.
Yeah.
And so we have to use the amount of electricity that your home's consumed
Okay.
in the past year to size the system. Now, you can choose if you want more electricity than that. They allowed us to go to double of what you've used.
Okay.
But we have to use the last year's consumption.
So what, like you just need a bill or?
Yeah, just one bill, and then if you can pull that up, you can either shoot that to my email or I can just look the kilowatt usage.
Yeah, here.
Okay, cool. Boom. Now, typically this takes like 25 to 35 minutes, depending on your questions. We're gonna be here on Tuesday and Thursday. Would mornings or afternoons usually better for you? Are you guys working all day or has COVID affected that?
Probably evenings, just so my husband can be back.
Perfect, yeah, not,
Just because obviously like is a two decision maker.
and that's one of the qualifications if both people that are on the title aren't present, or both people like husband and spouse that make the decision aren't present, we can't provide a solution.
Okay.
Just because we've had a lot of situations where we have a wife that enrolls, husband's really mad, or the husband enrolls and wife's really mad.
Yeah.
And so we just learned the hard way that it's just gotta be you and that's it, and your husband, and so the homeowner. So now we can do at 6 p.m. on, you said Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday will work best.
Cool. So Tuesday at 6 p.m. now.
Yeah.
What's the, shoot you a text with a reminder, what's the best number for you?
2810-6202.
Cool. And then a good email for you?
Autumn.nelson@sunenergy.com.
Cool. And none of this will be like a spam. It's just basically I'm gonna send you over.
Yeah, because I've had people spamming about solar and it's just got annoying. So like I'm willing to hear you out because I think it's a little different than what these other people were talking about. But like I'm in no position to get bombarded, like.
And quite honestly, I'm kind of indifferent whether or not you do it or not.
Okay.
Not to be kind of rude, but it's more so like I'm just here to provide you a solution.
Okay.
And then if you want to do it, you can.
Yeah.
Most people like it because it saves them money.
Yeah.
A lot of people have their own reasons why they do it. Yours will be specific to you probably. My job is just to present to you.
Okay, cool. Seems fair.
So I'll be back here. I'll shoot you over some information.
Okay.
I'll get that drawn up, and then if for any reason that you can't make it, please let me know.
Okay.
Only reason I say this is there's a lot of people doing this thing. I was driving all over the state from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs, and so I just ask that if you can't make it, you just let me know because I need to pay my gas and everything like that. It's just
Yeah,
important.
no, for sure.
So I would just really, and if I can't make it, I'll let you know too.
Okay.
And if you just promise me one thing that if it doesn't make sense, you won't do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds good. Speak soon.
Alright, thanks.